Welcome back, everybody, to ULTI.TV's coverage of the beautiful and brilliant Vienna spring break. Benjamin Rees alongside Stefan Rabazzo. We have women's quarter-final action for you. I forgot to put in the commentator graphic, whoops. But you know who we are by this point. It's been us all day. And it's Sharks from Barcelona back on the stream against the Flamingo pink-clad 3SB from Česká Budějovice in the Czech Republic. It's going to be 3SB beginning it on offense. They're going to be trapped tight to this sideline. Has that disc got the edge to come back in bounds? I'll tell you what, it did as well. I wasn't convinced, but with nothing developing really, seeing, you know what, let's at least play a bit of field position game with it and pin Sharks from their own end zone line. As we've just seen, the wind is fierce and it could well be an upwind, downwind game. So when you need to play the field position, not an awful idea.
Not at all. They stuck it down. As you said, lucky it did cross over and stay over that line for the biggest part of its flight path, and now Sharks will have to come out of their own corner. Perez with the disc.
A little bit of float as they work towards the far side. There's going to be a theme of that towards this game. Throws will float and they will sail, and there will be a lot of backup catches required, so you need to make sure you are ready to be called upon at any particular moment.
Any surprise to see the Huck followed up by a zone defense, Benji?
Anyone who's watched 3SB over the years, this is exactly what they do. They made their name from it, even from doing it when it's still, so in wins like these, absolutely not a surprise. Dvořáková. Oh, that one is side through, looking for the continuation into the end zone. Right on target from Bulanova. Finds, that's Ilishka Zikeshova, and that is 1-0 to 3SB.
Nice start for 3SB. Got the D back quickly after giving it up and used the advantage that they had with that wind at their back and ensured that their first possession play was only ever going to stay down that side of the field. First look was a pickup and Huck, and there was no looking back there. Chased it with a zone, came in static because it went out the back. Generated that turn early and then had a short field to work with to properly put the score in.
So for 3SB, they finished top of their pool, went undefeated. They beat Fabulous 15-11. Catch up 12-7 and finish with a 12-7 win over Troubles. That's a really tough pool, so they've done very well to come out on top of that one. For Sharks, they finished second in their pool. We streamed them earlier. They beat High Maintenance 13-10, Swarm 13-6, as that's an early break for 3SB. And yes, they went down to box 14-7 in their last game, but still with some good performances. But already 3SB doing what they do best. They're playing stifling defense and they're picking up quick on the turn and they are stretching you vertically. And the Sharks did not have an answer on that one.
That wasn't the number 5 shirt that just picked it up and hucked it to the end zone, was it?
No, surely not. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, wait, it was the number 5 shirt. Who is that again?
Is that Rahel Toshnerova?
Oh, yeah, she's done that before. You are right. I think I've seen that maybe once. Maybe that's the second time she's done that at least.
This is what 3SB have made their name doing. They've made, you know, great headway at multiple tournaments over years. And for a long time, this was how the way the national side was built as well. We'll play really nuggety, gritty defense on the turn. And when you're kind of completely worn out, the error finally comes. We'll pick it up, we'll play it long, and ideally we'll bring it in. But if we don't, get ready to knuckle down to slog through some offense as well. It's a slightly agricultural game plan at works at times, but it can be so effective for them, as we've seen throughout the seasons. especially in wind like this. That one's a little bit of a pop-up, but brought down regardless. Swinging, looking for Andrade. She can only tip it round the corner.
Another short field. 3SB's game plan is working out.
And there is that game plan coming into effect again. Rahel Tashnarova picking it up, ripping it deep. No one on the receiving end this time. And you may have thought, oh, I haven't seen Rahel or her sister Sarah for a while. What happened to them? Well, in a strange coincidence, they both had children about a month apart from each other. So it must have been an interesting conversation. I've got big news to tell you. Oh, me too. Those two are so in sync that at times you wonder if they're not twins. They're unique characters while somehow being remarkably similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's the funny, like, post-pandemic, then into pregnancy and child rearing. They've been gone for some time. In that time, East Block has seemingly usurped 3SB as the queens of Czech Ultimate. But it'll be very interesting to see this season with the Toshnerovas back. And a 3SB team that, you know, has not lost too much polish despite another team kind of taking the crown. I'll be very interested to see how they match up against each other. And quite possibly something we'll get in this tournament.
Hey, we mentioned they came top of arguably the toughest pool in the tournament here, so yeah, they're not going to be shy of confidence, and we know that they're not shy of ability either. Garcia to San Marco. That one always going to rise and pop up, and just tipped around the corner. Good enough pressure there applied from 3SB. Looking into the end zone, and that is why it is so devastating, because you switch off for a second. Honestly, the fraction of the second that just turns over. 3SB, they know what the game plan is. They are going, well, they're not always going to put it, but if they see an opportunity, they will unleash. And, you know, they're ready for it. They've got lots of size and threat downfield. Ivana Satoriasova on that occasion, stretching deep, boxing out nice and early, so that there's no real threat from the defender there.
You keep saying they, and it's true, as a unit, they do tend to lean that way, but in the last two cases, it has been a little bit of a she as well. There again, Rahel Toshnerova picking up the disc, firing it to the end zone immediately. By the time her eyes looked up, the disc had left her hand. She embodies what that team-wide philosophy is by being the one who has implemented it and goes to it the most, and probably the most effectively. One of the strongest throwers on that team, certainly her forehand.
The first pass is short from Andrade to Torno. Thought maybe there's a thread through, but this 3SB zone is so good at showing you those gaps, and then the second you release, they close them, and at that point it's too late to pull out. That time they look down the sideline. This one floated into the center, tipped on, and tipped to the floor eventually. Andrade. Looking to go across the field, pops up and drops into the gloves. Well, I say the gloves, the hands at least of Kobos. Lovely little high release over the top there. Finds Julia Mas. Andrade tries to muscle way into that front line. Demonstrates that I'm thinking about that deep shot, but there's not really an angle for it at the moment. Somehow squirrels her way in there, just Torna. Now Mas finds a little seam that is exploited well, continues to Kobos. Again, they so good at preventing those real quick offenses. They force you to play it slow. Really craft your way through. Make it tricky to find those openings, but they've advanced it well here, Sharks. utilising the full 360 degrees of the pivot to find the way through and eventually find the back of the end zone for the score. Sharks on the board, but still trailing 3-1.
Yeah, great bit of work there by Sharks. They were feeling the pressure. They've been stifled by the zone that's put in front of them. They needed to dig their heels in and make a stand, and there on that second or third possession, they did finally find a way. They got that zone they were looking at unfurled a little bit, created a little bit of space, made them run, backwards, and in the end used that far sideline to string, 40 meters worth of passes in about 4 touches, and then opened up the scoring sequence. So they really worked to get that goal in, and I think that is what they're going to need for every single point against 3SB.
Often where you see 3SB, you see the inflatable flamingo in tow. I must admit I haven't seen it today. Probably wise given the weather. Probably have to nail it down to get it to stay in place, and generally that is not compatible with inflatables. Trying to create space for the deep shot. It's not there. What a low grab towards that far sideline. Was it in bounds? I had no angle on it. I'd have to look at it again. Thankfully, through the magic of instant replay, we can. Oh, that's so cool. It would have been. I think it's definitely in bounds. Was it up? Is the more pertinent question. And it's always tough to tell. They're giving her the benefit of the doubt, saying, "Yeah, we think you kept it good." Now a little bit of edge to try and curl it round the defender. Just curled it too far.
Yeah, sighted Sara Tushnetova there. Dvorakova put the outside in backhand, tried to curl it around, but the wind, as we saw in the last game, continues to blow and pushed it out the back, caught a bit too much of the inside of that plate and made it tricky. I think that was a very tricky call on the sideline prior. Again, I don't even know if they were talking in, out, or up, down, but either way, it was very close in both instances.
3SB going back to the zone, which, they're so good at, but especially in this wind, as that one is gonna leave a mark.
Yeah, Luna was sighting the deep cutting Aina Perez, and friendly fire caught in the middle of the pitch, cutting across the zone during the windup, and yeah, a vicious backhand received, and she is willing to keep playing, staying out there, no injury called. Tough cookie out there.
Andrade looks almost more shaken up than the target. But you give 3SB a red zone like that, on the goal line, downwind, just one cut, free, and it's 4-1. 3SB getting this big early advantage is important, because we've seen when the wind really picks up, it's so difficult to score against the wind.
See the two of them hugging it out there. Obviously no intention there.
It happens.
It happens. I have done that exact same thing to Ellie Spark in a game in Australia, and it was one of the most horrible feelings that I had as a player back in the day.
I don't think I've ever actually hit anyone in the face like that, but I've been the player that's been hit not so much in the face, but one in the stomach, which thankfully has considerable padding now. When I first started Frisbee, that would have literally cut me in half, but now there was a big red mark across my chest for about a week. It wasn't so much as like, oh, you caught it. No, they just caught you. You just happened to be in the way and it just stuck there. It's really painful, but I'm sure, they've hugged it out, and looking back on it, hopefully they'll be able to see the funny side of things, because full credit, she's going back out.
Straight back out for the very next point.
Made of tougher stuff than I am.
And Next pull underway. Bench looking for the roller, but I think that's going to turn on them.
Good roll stopping. As San Marco goes into the backfield, they're trying to swing their way around it. Make that front line shuttle back and forth. So far, keeping the disc moving well, but yet to really advance it downfield. Dished off to Mas, and it sneaks its way through her grasp. I wonder what Josh Nerva was thinking.
No, you
I do
don't.
not wonder what Josh Nerva was thinking. And you understand why she thinks it, because that's a really good reception. Back in Josh Nerva's hands. This time she's shooting the flick, and that blades and knives quickly out of the hand. The tiniest bit of weakness, the flutteriness of the throw, if it doesn't come out absolutely precise, sometimes even if it does, the wind will just firmly reject it. Lovely little one, just popping it over that front line, and somehow, again, these little throws that you feel they should be so certain, the wind just refuses to let them lie. Good reception on a floater. Dish back to Josh Nerva, always looking towards the end zone, trying to blade it through into traffic, and that's a really awkward catch because the disc is sinking so quickly, and he couldn't bring it in. Sharks swinging on their own end zone line. Wonder at what point they decide to play a bit more territorially, because this is the last place you want to turn it over and give 3SB side already with a decent cushion an even greater advantage with an extra upwinder. Just about sneaks it through. Good second effort there by Linda San Marco. Swings to Cobos. Cobos again, then loving that over the top Sharks, but this one picked off. Inside. Fights his way through the traffic. Krelikova to the end zone for the score. It's another one for 3SB. They are creating some separation nice and early in this one. Sitting pretty right now in pink. It's 5-1.
Yeah, they're really managing the weather a lot better. They are using their game plan, their tendencies to their advantage. They are not wasting any time moving it upfield as quickly as possible. And Rahel taking on a lot of that load on her own. Very willingly. She doesn't need much encouragement to do as much, but it is very efficient for them to have such a strong thrower with good vision just pick up and take the distance. They're getting a few completions out of it, and when they're not, they're set up and ready to play defense. They all know that on the misses, they are still moving hard to get into position and generate the next turn, and it's very much working in their favor.
I think it takes a certain mindset and a certain type of character to be willing and to take the burden of no, I'm going to throw this turnover.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a strange mindset to get yourself into, of allowing yourself to be like, no, turnovers are fine, but it's been a part of their game plan and a part of their DNA in a way that they don't. It's not that they don't care, because obviously you'd much rather have completions, but it's kind of about seeing the bigger picture and having players who would say, you know what, I can not let it affect me.
But will it
get to go out?
Will it get more difficult, Benji? Like, this is a tournament where stats taking's not taken, it's not displayed on screen.
Yeah, you don't see
these kind of things. If you see the turnover count mounting,
I think if you're the sort of player that's happy to do that, maybe you wear it as a little bit of a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like, I think back at one of my Benji talks about his uni days, ticking off the bingo cards, right? But you know, I was fortunate to be at Sussex at a time when our women's team, they won 5 out of 7 UK outdoor nationals. One of my coaches at that point, who was still eligible to play, Megan, who's since gone on to represent GB. I mean, she was happy to play that sort of role when she said, no, I'm happy to throw turnovers because we play incredible defense. And look, there are times when I'm just going to take it on and we're going to say, you know what, let's get ourselves in better field position and do what we do best, turn teams short, and then punish them for it. And that's exactly what 3SB do so well.
And punished is the right word here. The Sharks attack have no answers to the zone that's being put in front of them. I mean, the one time they did shoot deep, they had problems internally, did the Sharks. And since then, they try and go side to side. There's not too much movement amidst the handlers. They're just throwing a couple static throws, looking in to the zone and effectively, throwing to the defense or into really tight passages where the throw and the catch are made to be very difficult in gusty conditions. It's an offense that looks totally stagnated in the face of what 3SB are putting in front.
And this is, I think, the real key to it. It's not the picking it up and looking long. It's getting the turnovers so quickly. It's constantly forcing those tricky underneath throws, really making you just slowly piecemeal your way down the pitch, and it's so tough to do. And the second you lapse, it's so tricky to flip the switch like, okay, we're on defense now. And if you don't, you get punished. And hey, sometimes you do. And because you know what the plan is, everyone backpedals, and actually sometimes you fall back too far. And well, we've given them easy underneath throws, and they're not in the habit of looking off easy completions either. Already at midfield, though, a little bit of a switch up here, going match defense with Sharks working downwind. I like this, it made me think, you think you figured us out? No, we've got multiple strings to our bow.
Yeah, right time for it, for sure.
Mas. Just a little underneath cut. Nothing too expansive about the way Sharks are playing it necessarily, but it's working, going down the foreside. Andrade gets away free up line, looking for an option of Mas. Mas fakes towards the end, so comes underneath again. It's a slow grind, but they are getting the separation they need, and just a little inside window, and Mas fits it through. That is, I must admit, a really good, confident hold there from Sharks. 3SB saying, we'll play some match defense, see if you can make the adjustment. And actually for Sharks, I think they saw it and thought, brilliant, this is great. This is a bit more back to a comfort zone for us.
Yeah, after the last point particularly, where I thought they looked stifled and stagnated, this did give them a breath of life. I'll also say I liked the changeup. Sharks would most certainly have been talking and over-talking about how to beat the zone. Okay, yeah. We've got to do this. We've got to readjust in this manner to beat this zone, show them something different. But it did, the Sharks just finally went back into their natural style, played against it, wind at their back, and that was their first easy O point we've seen all game long, and a very casual finish to it as well. Aina Perez just put up the left hand, and it seemed all too easy to catch that goal. Obviously working very hard to make that one count, but made to look easy just on that final touch.
Evening just beginning to threaten to draw in here in Vienna, 5:45 local time. Here at, I don't know if the stadium's got an official name, but it's the home of the SV Svechat football club. It's been the home of VSB for a good few years now. The roll stopped. Centering pass, putting a bit of air underneath it again. That's an awkward catch. Tried to backpedal, couldn't keep her balance. Going to be a turnover, but Sharks going to have to work a long way against the wind here. And I think 3SB have made their intentions clear what's going to happen after the pickup as well, because they've got that zone already set.
Yeah, sometimes you try and hide a zone and make it look like it's going to be match D, so the attacking team is, not totally prepared and not having extra handlers in place or cutters willing to be poppers. This time, no. They know exactly what they're getting. It is there on display early for the Sharks to even try and prepare for.
As the floats are tipped, that's a really good adjustment. Got to stay patient, but every throw is tricky in the conditions, although the wind has died down a little. Coach Patso, don the Darryl Stanley binoculars, talk me through the zone.
It's a 3-3-1 by the looks of it there, yeah. And it's taken out of shape. We'll talk about it next time we see it, or after this point. We might get another look right now. But it looks like it's got a huck stop on it. The huck stop can show itself in a couple different ways. An arrowhead, a flat wall front. They seem to be standing in the lanes flat, not encouraging. The arrowhead does encourage pushing it to the sides a little bit more and takes away more of the lanes. They're staying very flat. Their middle wall, or their middle three, are probably encouraged the most to take away the threat at the front of their zone and play match defense to take away right behind the wall. So every throw is encouraged to go overheads and about 10 to 15 meters. If they can put it deep, the deep is hung out to dry as they put one in there on the quick transition.
That's exactly what they want. It's say, okay, this is the throw we want you to take. We think that it's the way to beat it, but especially in these conditions, are you actually going to take that on? Probably not. That time they tried to squeeze it in underneath, and well, there wasn't quite the Swedish available at the front of the end zone there for Sarah Toshnerova, but she does pick it up quickly, finds a path through, and that'll bring 3SB within one of the half.
Thanks for the questions and the answers in the chat. Yes, Sharks indeed are from Barcelona. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, we do appreciate seeing your support, either in chat or whether you're watching this back on demand. We obviously, greatly appreciate the fact that you're here. ULTI.TV, of course, broadcasting free on YouTube this weekend, so this game is available for you in posterity. And yeah, Barcelona versus Budweis. If you want to give it the German name, or I'm going to probably try and butcher the pronunciation. I think it's Česká Budějovice.
Attaboy, Benj. I think you did it great, but I'm not really qualified to.
Am I angling for an invite back to the Czech Republic? Yeah, of course I am. It's a great country. I'd love to go back. I'd also love to go back to Spain as well, having said that. So if these two teams keep playing well, we'll have all the more reason to. Torna.
No more gifts. Oh, and Toshnerova gets a little finger on that Benji.
I thought he was going to be able to get it around the mark there, but Toshnerova just with a little shuffle and an adjustment, and it squeezes its way through the fingers. Sharks from their own end zone. Got to try and keep the disc moving quickly, which is tricky when you try to make sure you don't rush it. That's been a very fruitful look though. In behind. Perez. Trying to blade over the top. I think the tiniest little touch on that one from Dominika Kralikova. Was all it needed.
What do you foresee here? I'm baiting you.
Swing.
It wasn't that I foresaw.
Did you foresee that? The undercut. Cut off there. Aina Perez roasts it deep herself, but it's not going to go, not initially at least. Back to Kobos. Moving quickly, this is good. One of the ways to beat this zone is to stop letting it get set in position off the slow turnover. Sharks did that really well, and they got their just reward for it.
Yeah.
Perez with another score.
And, a couple things that were quite... it was not gift-like for 3SB to now face the downwind offense with the zone again. I think that was the right move for them. That's what's been making life difficult for the Sharks. I did think it was maybe out of character. I was predicting what I thought was going to happen, maybe should happen, to stick with that game plan for Toshnarova to pick it up and jag it and take the meters and hope for the reception, but take the meters. It's been working for them going in both directions. Instead, they go to center. The next pass gets knocked away by Perez, and Perez there again a few throws later to collect the downwind goal.
Well, we have spoken about varying your game plan somewhat, because yes, you can become too predictable even if it's working. You know, there might be times when it doesn't work, so you have to have, you know, multiple arrows in your quiver. But at the moment, yeah, they've not necessarily had a need to deviate from plan A.
No. And you know, like, we did see them deviate, showing the match defense. But, and sure, not a major deviation there, but here they come again, Benji.
Here they come quickly as well, advancing into the red zone. Not long to go, little leading pass dished in for half-time. That was slick from 3SB. It's strange because so often you see them, you know, have beautiful flowing points like that, and you think, why do they do that all the time? Why do they sometimes get suckered into reverting to type? But I think it just shows that they are a multiple team. They've got ways to attack you on multiple different fronts there. When the defenders are out of position, they can move it quickly. Representative, quite not too dissimilar to their compatriots actually, East Block. They are happy taking the short passes to open receivers when they're available and getting that quick disc movement and getting it into an 8-3 half-time lead here on ULTI.TV, our coverage of Vienna spring break. Benji Reese alongside Steph Rapazzo.
Yeah, we saw Sharks earlier today, Benji, against Swarm, and you just see the difference of opponent here. 3SB have a lot more European international experience. They've got a lot more players that have played at higher level, played in bigger tournaments. Sharks have come out and had a great day, but now facing up a team that's chiseled as far as their club history and had worked their way through a tough pool, it's a whole nother story that is unfolding in that first half for Sharks.
I thought that pass could have gone, but Perez thinking, maybe I'm not so sure and I don't want to rush it and make a mistake that could prove costly. Swinging towards the far side with Kobos, recentering instead. Andrade showing a high release, but shelving it. Going back to it at that time and just popping it in and over for the score. And a nice clean hold to start the second half for Sharks. That was beautiful flowing offense. We talked about one of the best ways to beat it is to not let it get set up in the first place. Why doesn't everyone think of that?
Yeah, did a great job there. You know, not let it get set up is get the disc moving, keep the disc moving, make that offense continue to adjust, keep them on their heels, moving backwards, having to look behind them and take their eyes off of the disc to try and find their way back into position. By the time they were set up, it was a very short field to attack, which does kind of give his own some advantage because of the compression, but also is very difficult if you haven't transitioned to a match D. There's just, you know, when short passes are required for conversions, it is a lot harder to stay in the zone and cover everything. A bit of a risky biscuit for Luna, Luna Andrade for the scoring throw, to go up and over those jumping front rows, but faked it, showed it, and then gave it, and did it very efficiently.
Yeah, she faked it till she made it. Made it. Shush. Sharks coming out in match defense. Oh, that's a brilliant layout towards that far sideline. Because that could easily have just escaped the grasp, but full commitment there. Can't, however, find a way all the way to the end zone. Sharks playing it short. .3SB just trying to get its claws set in. really smother and stifle their Spanish opponents. But a moment the jaws up front are clamped tight around the jugular. That might give them just a little bit of separation and breathing room, but the minute you thought you've worked it out, it sets back up once more.
A lot of high stall counts coming out. They're really putting the pressure on every single throw. 3SB don't mind what angle on the field you put them at. They have an answer for it. They can put pressure on in the corners. They can put pressure on in the center. And there's just nothing easy coming here for Sharks. Benji, talking about the jaws, you may know this. The jaws of a shark, most certainly. Do flamingos, do animals with beaks have jaws?
That's a
do
really
birds
good question.
have a jaw? Is a beak part of a jaw? Is there a mandible?
Yeah, there's probably a jaw muscle in there, isn't there?
All right, into the jaws of the flamingo.
I mean, at any rate, that beak can really snap.
And has there for the goal. The goal goes to Hodatrova, and the jaws of the flamingo snap again and close down on the shark to create another turnover and a super short conversion opportunity.
And that's exactly what 3SB thrive on. It's the quick pickup, and they punch it in. Marie Volkova makes it 9-4. 3SB in a very good position here. 5 up, 6 away from victory.
Benji, the ULTI.TV fan base is getting to know us quite well now. I don't even have to go out there and tell you what I ate, but people are asking how our food was. Of course, one way to find out is to go on over to Steph Pazzo's YouTube channel and like and subscribe. But we'll give you some input too. We did have schnitzel last night at Wild, and it was, Benji.
It was excellent.
It was excellent. I love the jam. I don't know if I've had my schnitzel with a little...
I think it was a cranberry. It was good.
It was a nice little side. The potato salad, very good. Very, very good.
Felix, like the Brit he is, went for French fries.
Yeah.
You know, some winding it up. Love you, Felix. Andrade, somehow weasels her way free. Perez aiming downfield, didn't get the block, but didn't quite need to. Teresa Mrazova just put enough pressure on to prevent it going into the hand of Mas. SB going against the wind, or would have been, but the wind has died down, and that was the perfect time to put that rope downfield to Sartoriusova. Looking for the end zone, shot not to be, smothered away. And now looking for Andrade. Andrade tips it. There's going to be a little bit of coverage, and in the end, no one needs to get the second touch as it goes to the floor. While the wind isn't as strong, this would be a great chance to take advantage, but it's just not sticking at the moment for either side. Trying to go down that far sideline, Gobos. Players on both sides maybe looking a little bit lethargic at this point, 4th game of the day for both of these sides. And that one's a bit behind Kobos, tried her best to claw it, but a right hand didn't see it nestle in her clutches. Balanova picks up. Zikesheva went for the swing, but both sides finding it a little bit tricky to get their rhythm again, and that is partly why, because it's blocked on the run through.
Loved that bid Bulanova on the miss, but throwing the body around.
Big old hand block.
And then gets it straight back, gets up from the bid. She is wanting every little bit of it out there.
Yeah, trying to hunt, maybe get a little bit of that field position back. It's going to roll out at the far sideline as well. That will allow 3SB chance to get whatever defensive plan they have in concoction ready, but it looks like they are just going to stick with match defense here. Seems they'll force them towards that far sideline. Well, actually, that force is quite flat. Now it shades over to try and force that forehand. The forehand comes and the clap of doom in the answer from Mass. Going one way, the disc kind of cutting across her a little bit, tries to put her hands behind her, gives it a go, but unfortunately, the sound of the empty hands. And now the shot towards the end zone on a line. 3SB accelerating towards victory, are they? Well, they might just have to check that a little bit. I think that's, you've made this hand signal for a pick, Steph.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, but yes, they do have to. We saw the pick called. I'm not sure I actually saw where it happened on the field, but there was a lot of signaling for it. I loved the way 3SB moved that disc, and you do just see it there in the middle. There is a lot of congestion. Great L-shaped movement there to bounce it to the sideline and immediately up the line, but the suspiciously openness was caused by some congestion and a pick.
Going down the line, Mrazova trying to spread it across. Bulanova into the end zone. That one is gonna stick. It's 10-4 to 3SB, and they can almost smell the semi-finals tomorrow morning.
10-4, buddy. Read you loud and clear.
Copy that.
They are looking good for that semi.
What was your walkie-talkie call sign? Atlas?
Yes, indeed. And yours?
I think it was Boomerang.
Oh yeah, Atlas to Boomerang. Roger, do you hear me? Breaker, breaker.
And at the moment it's Flamingo over Shark. It might not be as cool, but it's proving more than effective at the moment.
10-4 Boomerang.
Over. 3SB, this is exactly where they want to be, you know, with this big advantage. Maybe the wind comes back up as well to help aid their zone, but they're a side that can really drag things out, and having the ability to, you know, get on top in games and then really almost try and suffocate your opponent and say, you just do not have enough time left to get back in this game. And yes, the way Ultimate works, you always have to make sure that you score that final point to win, but they do just constantly cause that friction and make it so tough to get those points back quickly. The swing to Mars, not taken.
Yeah, she put her hands up wondering why. I kind of wonder the same, but when the throw's not there immediately, you know, something inside just tells you to swing back to center.
Yeah, if you're not sure, it's better to say it's better to holster than to pull the trigger and have something maybe come out a little bit wonky. There's, I think, a foul on the mark.
Yeah, if nothing else, they have retained possession.
So coming back in on one. Pop central, where Perez will survey our options. Towards this near side. It's a lovely find through, but shows too much of the underside there, does Mass. Toshnadova gobbles it up. Wants it back and she has it. Just a step away, and that will do it. Easy as you like, cool, calm and collected after the turn. Again, classic check. You intercept it so you can play so quickly afterwards. And it's Vaisova who makes it 11-4.
Yeah, pouring it on now, our 3SB. Suffocating as usual defense. Toshnadova picks it up in a small field, and instead of having to huck it is just quarterbacking and, you know, insisting that every second throw, even when only 2 are required, to put it into the end zone. Vaisova with the goal there. And 3SB are inching ever closer. 11-4, only 46 minutes into this one, Benji. They could well make quick work of this one if they continue at this pace.
They're playing like they've got somewhere to be.
Yeah, the semifinals.
The bar.
I don't know if it's the 3SB jam.
The childcare.
Yes, childcare more likely.
Hey, why not both?
Hey.
There are myriad reasons. Why not both? There's a reason why I'm not a parent. Andrade. To Torna, she wants it back and she gets it as well. And now Andrade lasering it down the centre of the field, not quite enough elevation, and it's tipped and blocked by 3SB.
Now the big upwind battle.
Yeah, the wind has picked up again, after it did die down somewhat. Doing well to handle these rising throws. Always going to be on your toes with this wind about. Swinging to the centre. Sarah Nemeshkova to Snoirova. Quite like what she sees central, so breaks towards the far sideline instead. There's a deep shot. It's going to be weighed up. Can anyone bring it in? No. Well defended there by Aina Perez.
Yeah, emphatic swat away. She's got a couple of those today. When she can get there, first she ensures that if she's not going to intercept it and catch her D, she ensures that it is going to ground as she did there. And if there's ever a lesson to be learned, in the rare cases where you don't catch your Ds, do it like that.
Pass. Beckoning Andrade through, clears the space for Torna. Plucked with the right hand. And Sharks now found their way to midfield. A little bit of disconnection between the cutters and that handling core. And now getting cluttered and congested. There's a poach available if they can find it. Has to elevate. Good adjustment made. Steadies herself underneath it, does Andrade. Now Torna. Andrade bounces back. They want a downfield option, and the run through came, just clamping them, forcing them tight to that sideline, not giving them a lot of lateral space to work with, and they got the block. The Flamingo in full flow once more now. Dvorakova. Looking on the line, oh, tipped into the face of Chechenina. She's okay, mercifully, and I think Andrade sees this is a good opportunity just to take a breather and call a timeout. Let everyone just get their head set back into the game once more. Second half action here, women's quarterfinal at Vienna spring break, and 3SB lead Sharks 11-4.
Nova Scotia Electric, become a member.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
11 for 3SB up in this one. Just under 20 minutes to go until cap, but I think if you're Sharks, you're not thinking about that right now. It's just taken on a point-by-point basis. Benji Reese and Steph Rabazzo with you here in beautiful Vienna. There's hopefully some Schweckhatter on ice for us somewhere.
Yeah, hoping for that.
If anyone in the TD hut is listening, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Send it on down. Checking the score and the time. Some of the players crossing the booth to have a look at our screen.
Yeah, Sharks just getting themselves into position. Looks like Turner back with Andrade in the handling set, and 5 to set vertically downfield.
So no surprise to see a zone set up here.
Especially when you've got the time to do it slowly. Off the timeout.
So
they're so good at it. It makes a lot of sense. Andrade checks it in. And obviously having set up in that vertical option downfield, it takes Sharks a little bit of time to adjust. And the turnout is the result. Picked up quickly by Dvorakova. Shooting towards the end zone. A pack of receivers, defenders I should say there. And I don't think there's any surprise about who brings it down. It's Zaina Perez again. Andrade trying to create a little bit of dynamism up front with the throw and go. And she loses her hat in the process. This one putting a bit of air underneath it over the top. Perez just lost the focus out of the hand. On the end zone line now. Can 3SB extend their advantage? Trying to strike towards the front cone, but it's well defended. Still count ticking. That is a squeeze into the end zone, but it is a very good squeeze. Bulanova finds Volkova and makes it 12-4. 3SB can almost taste semi-finals tomorrow.
yeah, they have really stretched this open. They're doing everything right. They continue when they stick to their game plan and shoot for field position. Sure, Aina Perez can rise up and take it away, but they're putting the zone back on quick and efficiently and getting it back with short fields to look at time and time again. And they're not going to squander too many of those opportunities. As they showed there, a big upwind break. They're going to be chasing down a big pull here and most certainly showing a zone right from the chase. And the Sharks are going to be in for it as we have a look up to the bleachers, the rafters, the tournament central there where a few cold libations are being enjoyed. Looks like they're having a wonderful time. I mean, a libation could go down well. I mean, I'm sure they're really enjoying it.
He said without a hint of bitterness.
Sharks have done well already, beyond half, and as I say it, Benj.
Comes out of the hands of Montserrat Mateo. Chashnova with the offhand. Wants it back in her clutches and able to squeeze her way past. now opens up the cannon of a backhand deep. Good chase towards the back of the end zone, but too much on it, even with the wind having just abated somewhat.
Yeah, too much on it, but now they will go show the zone statically and hope once again for that short field that has been granted to them for their efforts repeatedly.
Even if you are going to not connect on the throw, it certainly behooves them to overthrow it rather than underthrow it, because it just takes so much longer to bring it in, and that gives you the time to get your defense set back up again.
Now they've got a heavy trap on.
I say behooves them, but obviously flamingos don't have hooves.
We don't even know if they have jaws.
True. I mean, everyone knows that birds aren't real anyway. They're just robots planted there by the government to spy on people.
Oh, you're one of them, are you?
No, it's the dumbest conspiracy I've ever heard. A little bit of a contact there, just at the front, and that's going to require the injury stoppage. Hope that it's nothing too serious. Check back in. Violation.
Violation.
For those wondering, the symbol for violation is if you hold your arms up like that, 45 degrees in a big V, although your hands should be in closed fists.
Thanks, Bench. Always great little details to add.
I take my craft seriously. That's a really tricky catch there, stuck by Mateu. Popped off to Perez. Lovely little slide through, and again, Mateu making a tough one low to the ground. Perez right on the halfway line. Not much rotation in that, but it doesn't matter because San Marco still sticks it. Takes advantage of the crash to get the dump off and try and work it round. Eventually the pressure tells. Toshnarova picks it up with no regard, and he loses all of those hard-fought yards.
Yeah, right. Chasing it before, knowing it was already turned over, but I think before it hit the ground, Toshnarova was already chasing to go put herself in defensive position at the front of that zone. And they have a 1-3-2-1 showing, which is going to put even more pressure on the throwers. A puppy fence, a pommy. Some have said Perez gets one to stick going up the sideline.
Yeah, this game, by the way, both of these sides have decided to use this tournament. They've opted in for this to count for the EUCS rankings. So even if for Sharks, at this late stage, comeback is, well, it's not out of the question certainly, but it's quite unlikely, but still that extra incentive to fight for every single last point.
Yeah. 3 would be helpful to negate the blowout clause.
There's the deep shot looking, but there's no one there. I don't think they mind.
Yeah, putting the zone back on. Putting them back in an even worse corner to be in. They have the trap side zone against them. Very few options to get out of that corner without going over top.
And it's so congested up the front. Trying to get the roll curving flick beyond, a little tip, and eventually it comes down in the hands of Kama. One in the little pop in, but it's not there. Sandra Garcia putting air underneath it. Perez reads it. Cutter takes off to the end zone. I think Perez wise to holster there, because trying to get the disc to hang up for that amount of time in this wind would have been so tricky. Garcia rolling it around to Mateu. And looked for the quick offload. Did she get it out of her hands before Toshnarova got the touch?
No, she did. Toshnarova accepts the foul.
She does. Little under 9 minutes to play, plus gap. Assuming, of course, we don't reach the 15 by then. Perez. spins that one round. Nice find of Kobos and starting to look for the next one. Doshnerova, there's the run and there's the gun. And it overshoots once more. And this is classic 3SB. You work so hard to get it so far, and then in one throw, it's back down the other end again and off you go.
I mean, it makes you drop your head, if nothing else. If you are Sharks and you're working that hard to get it upfield and they boom, put you back in the end zone, and boom, put you back in the end zone. It makes that work seem like it's doing less for you, and maybe, you know, if one or two of the players drop their head a bit and feel less encouraged to go, it will give 3SB that shorter field eventually. It has worked for them all game long.
It's impressive, isn't it?
And it's just worked again for them, Benji.
Yeah,
They're gonna have a 0 meter field now.
The goal line turn that they craved. And Rahel Soshnarova wants a little bit of a breather as well, so she's going to take a timeout. Do they need to take it in this situation? Not necessarily, but you've got them to use, and you can't take them with you when we're done here. So may as well give a good opportunity to practice, maybe taking a timeout in this scenario, because you never know when that might come. Well, that practice could come in special handy in later games. Yes, maybe at this point it's not as crucial as it would be in a tighter game, but there's nothing quite like getting it in and with a real live in-game rep. 12-4, 3SB leading Sharks in this Women's Division quarterfinal here at Vienna Spring Break.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Nova Scotia Electric, become a member.
ULTI.TV's coverage of Vienna Spring Break, live from the Austrian capital. Women's Division quarterfinal. These sides are trying to book their place at the moment. It would require an almighty comeback for Sharks to wrestle this one away from the Flamingos of 3SB. 3SB taking the timeout on the end zone line here. Rahel Soshnarova will have the disc off the put-in. Got one player isolated at the front. Interested to see how Sharks match up against this. They're taking it pretty quote-unquote honestly here. Maybe just sagging off that second handler a little bit, but really clearing out that space, and Soshnarova is going to float this one over towards the far side. Lovely throw. Just got the right loft and sit on it, and it comes down in the hands of, I think, Sartoriasova to make it 13-4. 3SB within 2 of the win.
Yeah, can't put a foot wrong, 3SB. They set up what looked like a play to go to the one isolated player right in front of Soshnarova. Couldn't get open immediately, just threw over everybody to the break side, and a play was made to bring it home, and they just keep moving. 13-4 right now, about
5 minutes?
4 minutes remaining before the cap will go. If 3SB can score in that time, it's a game to 15 no matter what.
with your coach's hat on, were you a little bit surprised that Sharks didn't sit someone on the break side of that stack at the back of the end zone?
I mean, nowadays it makes sense to. However, with the wind the way it is right now, like that was
it's a tough throw. It is a tough
throw I would not have expected. I think I would have bet against and said nothing in the front corner and let them bounce it to the other side if they want to, and then play honest as it gets centered. But yeah, I don't know if I would have really surrounded them going over the stack.
Linda San Marco will bring it in from this side lane, just inside her own half. Wearing those very fetching lavender boots.
Yeah, I was just looking at them.
Would you call that lavender, lilac? I'm going to stick with lavender, I think. San Marco, let's see, back with her now. A little bit of an adjustment, but made comfortably enough in the end by Mas. Now San Marco, just going to give go with Mas. Andrade, can she find the way through? A little bit of a flutter right there, but not a problem. Torner sees it, and San Marco, a little bit awkward, but it's stuck all the same, and that's the important bit. The tattooed Andrade finds the seam well. San Marco spreading it across to Mas. This is a very assured possession, I have to say, from Sharks. Andrade just motioning, indicating perhaps where she wants some downfield movement developing. Oof, my word.
Big collision there. Toshnarova stepped into the lane as Mas was collecting. I think I saw expression from Toshnarova's face indicating she knew she was in the wrong as soon as it was happening. She stepped into that contact. Mas did a great job to maintain possession all the while.
So check back in. San Marco fakes off Andrade, then goes to Mas. Looking to slice and dice through. Andrade not quite seeing what she wants though. San Marco downfield. Now back central to Andrade, getting a little bit of pace about it. Zone sets back up once more and taking the release valve of San Marco. San Marco looking expansive and very nearly paid off, but enough pressure came from Volkova flashing through to prevent it going into the hands of Ona Torner. Sharks sticking with a match defense on the turn. There's a deep shot, that one's going to blade. Really good reception though. Tough adjustment, pick after the catch though, I think.
And that's a pick after the reception. I'm not sure I saw where the pick was there, Benji.
Maybe she's saying that she didn't kind of make the movement through because there was the other player there who was putting the force on, so she pulled out just in case, which, you know, you are entitled to do. They are actually, in the end, just going to send it back. Expecting to hear the signal for the end of game any second now.
They're going to be loud.
There you go. So finish the point, add one, as Sara Toshnarova puts it deep. That's a really tricky track, expertly done. And Volkova then punches it in for the score, 14-4, so game to 15, as it was at the start.
As it was at the start, it will be till the end. A long way to go if you're wearing turquoise blue. And Flamingos 3SB in a very good position to pull chase with the wind behind their back and end this one.
Just getting a confirmation of the score there, so not quite done yet, but for Sharks to rattle off 11 on the bounce here would be the greatest comeback of all time.
Yeah, I'll eat my shoe.
Would you?
If that happens, I'll
Is it a
my best
particularly
go.
edible shoe?
Huh?
Is it a particularly edible shoe?
No, not at all. This would probably kill me. But
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do it.
Your man of his word is our Steph. The 3SB, it's just been so stifling. It's classic 3SB. The Flamingos they've got their wings up and they've just been, they've just not let it go down. Sharks will pick up from the floor. Andrade off the centre, continuing. Trying to get it before that gets set. Good adjustment there, well tracked by Mas. Unfortunately, the turf on the reset back. Toshnerova picks up. Toshnerova rips it too long.
Better too long than too short, Benz. We've said that, and by the time Luna Andrade has picked that up and got to the front line, she will be looking at a well-set 4-player front of a 3SB zone that they have been seeing a whole lot of all game long.
Yeah, they've not necessarily disguised what they want to do, but they've just made it so difficult to stop, and that throw is lofted and intercepted. Toshnerova, can she find the scoring pass? Filling into the end zone, Andrade making herself big on the mark. With a rising stall count, trying to put a little bit of air underneath it. I don't think it's going to be in the end zone. The edge just takes it out.
Sticky fingers there. Keep it alive.
And looking towards the back, just about blading it around Kobos in to Ivana Sartoriasova, and with a 15-4 victory, we will see 3SB in the semi-finals tomorrow morning.
A walkover of a performance there. 3SB work their way through what could be the group of death here in Vienna spring break in the women's division. Get nothing but wins through that. Find themselves matched up with a Sharks team that have kind of surprised and done very well and absolutely put them to the sword. Knock them down 15-4. Credits to their game plan, using the wind very effectively. The wind only helps 3SB do well what they do well in any situation, but the field position, the huck and zone, the ability to, fight it upwind with single throws, cut the field in half, 2-3 throws to get it upfield and not worry about the potential for lower completion percentage, but just play the greater percentages of the game and use that field position as their greatest motivator, and they did that in excellent fashion from start to finish of that game.
Yeah, 3SB in total control throughout. We're going to have a look at some of the highlights from that commanding victory. 3SB will take one of the 4 semi-final places tomorrow morning. We don't have word just yet on who potentially they might face. The quarterfinals were box versus catch-up, East Block against Terrible Monkeys, so an all-Austrian and an all-Czech affair, and the German Women's Masters against Mantis. The game that is going on actually on the second stadium pitch behind, beyond maybe, probably a better word, what we can see here. So we will keep you updated when we know that. Keep your eye on the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, all the good stuff, get notified to make sure you know when we go live. First game penciled in 9 o'clock Central European time tomorrow morning. The semi-finals are catch-up Graz versus MUC and Frank N versus 3SB in the open division. So make sure you are here for that. Right, time to pack up and I think enjoy the festivities here in beautiful Vienna. On behalf of our wonderful ULTI.TV crew, Felix Shardlow doing an excellent job on the cameras and the knobs and dials behind us, Stefan Rapasso alongside me, Benji Rees signing off for today. Vienna Spring Break, day 1 in the books, and we will see you on the other side for finals day.
Want this Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Milan. I mean, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.